Como estas, bitches? What's up? Crapgamer here, Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you guys for checking it out. I do appreciate it. So anyway, you know, a lot of people really want the Xbox One X to be taken full advantage of, myself included, no matter if that's a better frame rate or whatever. You know, we spend $500 on this thing. It should be able to do whatever it can do, right? And we do see that some games get, you know, a frames per second option. Some games don't. But it is nice to see that we're getting more and more options as gamers, and I think that's super important. With that being said, Mikey Barra came out and reiterated that developers have no handicap when it comes to implementing a higher frame rate on their game for the Xbox One X version of a game. With that being said as well, I highly doubt that we get multiplayer games that offer differentiating frame rates outside of Microsoft's own first-party stuff, which we'll see with like Sea of Thieves on you know, PC versus Xbox One X. Will get 30 frames per second. If they have a PC capable of it, they'll get 60, although that thing can run on a potato at 30, so we'll see. Probably a lot of people will be running it at 30 as well. But at the end of the day, when you look at a game like Destiny 2, 100% that game could run 60 frames per second in some way, shape, or form on the Xbox One X, but they chose not to as developers because they feel like they would probably get too much crap for it, having one version be superior to all the other versions. So, despite the fact that, you know, we get plenty of games that offer, you know, like if you're on an Xbox One X and you're playing that game, you're still playing a better version. And you're still actually playing a superior version, and you still have an advantage because the frames aren't going to drop as much, and you're going to have a crisper, clearer image. And so I think that since that's already the case, why not give them 60 if you can? Maybe just give the other people an option to only play with people on other Xbox Ones. That makes the most sense to me. But I don't personally like seeing my console held back. Even though Mikey Barra is saying, hey, we don't really do that, I do think that it's something that's, you know, I wish that we would see even more expansion on in the future. You know, we definitely need games that have 60 frames per second. It's not a huge issue with multiplayer because most multiplayer games, believe it or not, are already 60 frames per second. You look at Call of Duty, Battlefield, Battlefront, Halo, Gears. Those games are all 60 frames per second online. And I think that that's probably the key to a smoother experience for a multiplayer game. You know, I think most sports games are 60 frames per second too, which is crucially important. And you know, just overall, I think it helps for a much smoother game if you're playing online. Now, there's certain instances where it doesn't really matter to me. Like, I'll play Gears 4 single player 4K because that's face-meltingly gorgeous. Now, when it comes to some of these other things, like you know, let's just say like Tomb Raider or whatever, I'll play that at 4K as well. But you know, multiplayer stuff, I tend to stick to the 60 frames. I think that's hugely important. I always love hearing different people's opinions when it comes to this too, because a lot of people feel the same way as I do. Some people don't. Like me personally, I don't want to play against PC players. Not just for the advantage thing, but for other reasons as well. Maybe some people don't want to play against other people that have a higher frame rate. It's really muddy territory and new territory as well, because it's not something we've really had to deal with in the past, and it might not be something we ever have to deal with again in the future. Who knows? I seriously doubt we see a situation where we have mid-gen upgrades. The only reason why we have mid-gen upgrades right now is simply because they had piss-poor power to begin with. You know, both Sony and Microsoft cheaped out. You know, Microsoft went with that cheesy Kinect idea. Sony thought they were doing something, but they just had some off-the-shelf parts, realistically, and it ended up working out well for them and not so much for Microsoft. But at the end of the day, you know, it's interesting to hear Mikey Barra kind of pitch this idea again, but at the same time, I feel like them pitching that, just like, oh, you know, developers have the right to disable keyboard and mouse. Sure they do, and they will, but will developers ever really use a 60 frames per second option on an X version and a 30 on the regular Xbox One version? I don't see that happening. I could be wrong. I would love your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. Let me know. Hit me up on Twitter at @_Crapgamer or Xbox Live MOH Crapgamer. And as always, thanks for watching. Rack 'em up. Have a great week. Crapgamer out.